Good day and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. In this episode, we are going to continue our coverage of the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia. As the war continues unabated, we continue to receive reports of heavy and ongoing fighting taking place in the vicinity of Ibnat and north and east of that location. Again, we continue to see Tigrayan Defense Forces pressing in the directions from Sokoto and obviously north from Dabat. And it would appear that there seems to be a rather significant overland goal of moving the front lines from this rather sparse and rugged terrain area here in the direction of the Gondar Bahir Dar Highway, or the A3 highway seems to be the objective. There continues to be engagements in the vicinity of the B-22 highway as well, west of Gashina, as Tigrayan Defense Forces continue its activity. We also continue to see deep penetration raids by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. We continue to see fairly significant columns of Ethiopian Army and Amhara militia units being ambushed inside of the Amhara region. So some of the tactics that we observed in the Tenbian region of central Tigray, those methods to engage the Ethiopian Amharan military units are ongoing in that form of tactic. We continue to see the buildup of forces in the vicinity of Dese as well on both sides of the equation, and there continues to be operations by the Tigrayan Defense Forces in western Afar, specifically in the areas of Abala, east of Abala, and all the way up towards Bahale as well. That is currently what is going on the ground. Inside of this war between the former state of Ethiopia, the Amhara region, and the Tigrayan Defense Forces, or the Tigray Army. Another issue that is now popping up and has been occurring of late and ongoing is issues of atrocities of persecution that is going on inside of Addis Ababa and other areas of Ethiopia as well, but more so reported in Addis Ababa. And it would appear that there is an ongoing confiscation effort underway by elements of the Ethiopian federal security forces inside of Addis Ababa, and they appear to be targeting people of Tigrayan descent. So if someone is of a Tigray ethnicity, those folks would appear to be targeted in terms of confiscation of assets. That is both property assets and hard currency. So again, we've continued to hear reports of security personnel entering actual homes, domiciles of Tigray people living in Addis Ababa. They then threaten those persons inside of that domicile by saying, hey, look, we are going to vanish you. We will take you to a prison and you will disappear, or worse, unless you do this. And that do this is to give money to the perpetrator, which is actually a law enforcement entity of the state. So it would appear that there is a state-run, state-funded effort to confiscate assets from a variety of ethnic groups, specifically Tigrayan, inside of Addis Ababa. And that should be very concerning. Again, obviously, law enforcement, police forces are there to prevent crimes and stop crimes, not to perpetrate crimes on behest of the state. which appears to be an ongoing issue right now. Now, granted, inside of Ethiopia, there is a breakdown of law enforcement. There is a breakdown of a variety of services that would ordinarily be provided by a government. But because of the ongoing war that is taking place inside of Ethiopia, inside of the Amhara region, in and around the Tigray region, services are breaking down, and in some areas it is becoming quite draconian. There is a widespread ethnic conflict going on in a multitude of states. There is widespread use of regional security forces against other ethnic groups inside of a variety of states inside of Ethiopia. And again, that is one of the reasons why I identify Ethiopia as the former state of Ethiopia. If you are in a state of affairs where groups identifying itself as the state security apparatus there to protect the people of said nation, and when that entity is now turning on and cannibalizing the very people that they are there to protect in terms of making them disappear, confiscating assets such as property and hard currency, then that is simply a failed state. And inherently, you will see people start to take up arms if the law enforcement entities of said nation state are showing up at people's door and taking their hard-earned assets. There's right and there is wrong, and this is simply wrong. And if these reports hold merit, which there has been many documented reports of this occurring, compounding this by the treatment of journalists and really any person or persons who speak contrary to the government, the Prosperity Party narrative, you are going to find yourself in a serious predicament in terms of either placed in prison or much worse. And we're starting to hear reports of the latter, the much worse, is actively happening all across the former state of Ethiopia. I had made a video yesterday as well talking about the idea of using the Tigray people resources in terms of say Mekelle University to develop a military sciences application in terms of the ability to possibly produce armaments. And that really runs the gambit. Again, it could be anything from a ammunition, a small ammunition factory or even workshop, to the production of firearms, to even possibly repurposing captured equipment and then using that repurposed equipment. And I do understand that during the Great Pillage of the Tigray region, when the Tigray region was occupied by the Eritrean army at the request of Abiy Ahmed and the Prosperity Party, that much equipment that could be used in the production of said devices and complexes were taken. And I know I completely understand that, but the base knowledge is there. There is a university, there is engineering programs that does exist. I get that a lot of the resources from Mekelle University were taken, and not just Mekelle University. Really, if it wasn't hidden, if it wasn't, well, even if it was bolted down, unfortunately, the Eritrean army was taking it, as were the Ethiopian state forces were taking everything. Even United Nations equipment was confiscated by the Ethiopian Federal Army and removed from the Tigray region. So I do understand there was a great rape of Tigray, and that occurred. But at the same time, there still is some institutional intelligence in terms of people with education, and it's important. Obviously, some of those individuals will want to join the war effort. They will want to go to the front line and engage in direct conflict with these forces that invaded their country. But that's where leadership needs to step in and say, "Hey, uh, uh, you have other uses that could help the Tigray region, and your place is not fighting at the front. Your place is here, either studying military sciences or developing uh, systems that can go on and assist with the war effort." And you really have to focus on that and be able to take those personnel out of those frontline units, not allow them to enter the direct conflict, so to speak, but utilized indirectly in other efforts to help that main goal. But again, I just wanted to touch on that and talk about that a little further. And I am aware of what was taken and how much was taken from the Tigray region in that occupation. But we will continue to monitor the situation. We are watching what is going on south of Weldia and north of Desse very closely. Again, a very large force on both sides are massing, and we could see a very large land engagement at some point in the vicinity, and we will continue to report and update as needed. Have a good day, everybody.